Welcome to Hollywood Actions. In this video, we are going to take you on an inspiring and powerful journey through the lives of transgender Hollywood celebrities who are not only breaking barriers but also transforming the very core of the entertainment industry. These are actors, actresses, and performers who defied all odds to live authentically, paving the way for a more inclusive and compassionate Hollywood. From Oscar-nominated trailblazers to rising stars making waves in mainstream media, each one of them has a unique story of courage, resilience, and triumph. Now, let's dive in. 1. Laverne Cox. Laverne Cox made history as the first openly transgender person to be nominated for a Primetime Emmy Award for acting. But her story began in Mobile, Alabama, where she was raised by a single mother and grandmother. Bullied for her femininity, Cox faced a childhood filled with confusion, shame, and emotional struggle. Why? But Cox is more than just an actress. She's a passionate advocate, producing documentaries like Disclosure, and speaking openly about issues like violence against trans women of color and the need for representation in media. 2. Elliot Page. Elliot Page stunned the world with his raw, emotional coming out as transgender in 2020. Known for his Oscar-nominated role in Juno, and performances in Inception, and Netflix's The Umbrella Academy, Page had always been a respected actor. But living in the spotlight while hiding his identity took a heavy toll. His transition was a landmark moment, not only for himself but for the entertainment industry at large. Page bravely reintroduced himself to the world, appearing on the cover of Time magazine and using his platform to educate millions about trans rights. 3. MJ Rodriguez. Michaela J. MJ Rodriguez is the breakout star of FX's revolutionary series, Pose, where she portrayed Blanca Evangelista, a loving, fierce house mother in New York's ballroom scene during the AIDS crisis. Born in Newark, New Jersey, MJ began her journey in musical theater. But it was Pose that brought her center stage, not only for her acting chops but also for her historical Emmy nomination as the first transgender woman nominated for Outstanding Lead Actress. She has since stepped into music and continues to speak out on LGBTQ+ issues. 4. Hunter Schafer. With her ethereal beauty and magnetic screen presence, Hunter Schafer has captivated millions as Jules Vaughn in HBO's Euphoria. A model-turned-actress, Hunter's rise to fame has been meteoric. Born in North Carolina, she came out as transgender during high school and began modeling professionally, walking for major fashion brands before landing her breakout acting role. What sets Schafer apart is how she weaves her own experiences into her performances. In fact, she co-wrote and co-executive produced a special episode of Euphoria, centered on her character's identity. 5. Alexandra Billings. Long before trans stories hit mainstream TV, Alexandra Billings was already paving the way. A powerful actress, singer, and activist, she made her mark in theater and later on shows like Transparent and The Conners. Billings grew up in Southern California and transitioned decades before the entertainment industry was ready for trans talent. Despite that, she persevered. She became one of the first openly transgender actresses to play a trans character on television, and she did it with grace and defiance. 6. Brian Michael Smith. When Brian Michael Smith joined the cast of 911, Lone Star, he made history as the first black trans man with a regular role on a network TV series. Raised in Michigan, Smith spent years working as a social worker while pursuing his acting career. His early roles in Girls and Queen Sugar hinted at his talent, but Lone Star brought him into the spotlight. Smith is now a vocal advocate for body positivity, mental health, and intersectionality in trans identity. 7. India Moore. India Moore dazzled audiences with their performance as Angel Evangelista on Pose. As a non-binary transgender actor and model, India's impact is both artistic and political. Their early life was filled with hardship, homelessness, foster care, and bullying, but Moore used fashion and storytelling as a form of survival and expression. Today, they're not only a celebrated actor but also a Vogue cover star and fierce advocate for trans liberation. 8. Jamie Clayton. Jamie Clayton rose to fame playing Nomi Marks, a trans hacker on Netflix's Sense8. The role was groundbreaking, not just because it featured a trans actress, but because it portrayed her character's identity as just one part of a complex, fully realized person. Born and raised in San Diego, Jamie originally worked as a makeup artist before transitioning into acting. Her performance in Sense8 gained a cult following. 9. Ian Harvey. Ian Harvey is one of the first openly transgender stand-up comedians and actors in the United States. With his sharp wit and bold storytelling, he has turned comedy into a platform for education and empowerment. Harvey starred in Transparent and has made numerous appearances on comedy specials, delivering routines that tackle gender, identity, and politics with heart and humor. His comedy tours, TED Talks. 10. Alexandra Gray. Alexandra Gray is a multi-talented star who's appeared in hit shows like Empire, Chicago Med, and Transparent. But behind her stunning performances is a story of perseverance. Raised in foster care, Gray faced immense discrimination throughout her life. Yet her determination pushed her forward. She pursued acting and music, releasing singles that celebrate trans identity and love.